The story of our ancient past is most often told in stone. We marvel at towering megaliths and finely chipped flint arrowheads. These materials are durable, capable of resisting the relentless march of time. They lie in the earth for millennia, waiting for us to uncover their secrets. But what of the other materials our ancestors used? Wood, for instance, was one of the most essential resources for early humans. It provided fuel for their fires, frames for their shelters, and handles for their tools. It was a canvas for their earliest artistic expressions, a material that was warm, pliable, and alive in their hands. Yet, wood is profoundly ephemeral. It rots, it burns, it is eaten by insects. It returns to the soil, leaving barely a trace of its existence. Finding any wooden artifact from the deep past is therefore an event of extraordinary rarity. It is like finding a single preserved feather from a long-extinct bird. Most of the wooden objects our ancestors created have vanished completely, leaving vast silent gaps in our understanding of their lives. We are left to guess at the intricate carvings, the sacred objects, and the everyday tools that filled their world. This fragility makes every surviving piece a priceless treasure, offering a fleeting but intimate glimpse into a lost world. When such an object does emerge from the darkness of prehistory, it speaks with a voice that stone cannot replicate, telling us of a more organic, perhaps more personal connection between humans and their environment. This is precisely what makes the Shigir Idol so utterly astonishing. It is not just an ancient piece of wood, it is a monumental work of art, a complex sculpture that has survived against all odds. Discovered in the peat bogs of Russia's Ural Mountains, this silent, enigmatic figure has journeyed through more than 12,000 years to reach us. It is a messenger from the Mesolithic or Middle Stone Age, a period of profound change at the end of the last ice age. The idol's survival is a miracle of preservation, a happy accident of chemistry and geology that has allowed us to look directly into the face of a world we thought was lost forever. The existence of such an object forces us to reconsider what is possible. It reminds us that the story, written in stone, is only part of the narrative. Our ancestors' world was rich with textures, with the scent of pine and the feel of carved larch wood. The Shigir Idol is not merely an artifact, it is a testament to a forgotten chapter of human creativity. It challenges our perceptions of early art, society, and spirituality. It stands as a solitary wooden giant, representing all the millions of other wooden creations that have dissolved back into the earth, their stories lost to the wind and the rain. It is a whisper from a forest that has long since turned to dust, a fragile echo of a truly ancient past. The story of the Shigir Idol's discovery begins not with archaeologists, but with gold miners. In the late 19th century, in the Ural Mountains of Russia, miners were excavating a peat bog at a site called Shigir. Peat bogs are remarkable environments. They are waterlogged, low in oxygen, and highly acidic. These conditions are hostile to the bacteria and fungi that cause organic materials to decay. Over thousands of years, layers of sphagnum moss and other vegetation accumulate, creating a perfect natural time capsule. Anything that falls into the bog, be it an animal, a plant, or a human-made object, can be preserved in astonishing detail, pickled for eternity in the dark, silent waters. It was in January of 1890, while digging about 4 meters deep into the peat, that the miners' shovels struck something hard. It was not rock or gold, but wood. Carefully, they unearthed several large fragments of a carved wooden object. Recognizing that this was something unusual, the pieces were sent to the Uralian Society of Natural Sciences Museum in Yekaterinburg. For years, these fragments lay in storage, their true significance not yet understood. The pieces were eventually assembled by a museum curator, Vladimir Tolmachev, who pieced them together to reveal a tall, flat statue unlike anything seen before. Even then, its true age remained a profound mystery, a puzzle waiting for the right tools to solve it. The secret to the idol's incredible preservation lies entirely within the unique chemistry of the Shigir peat bog. The acidic water essentially tanned the larchwood, preventing its cellular structure from breaking down. The lack of oxygen starved the microorganisms that would normally have consumed it, freezing it in a state of suspended animation. For over 12 millennia, the idol lay submerged in this protective environment while glaciers retreated. Forests grew and entire civilizations rose and fell on the surface above. It was a silent witness, locked away from the world, waiting for a chance encounter to bring its story back into the light. When the fragments were first reassembled, they formed a figure standing over 5 meters tall. Sadly, some of the lower pieces were later lost during the political turmoil of 20th century Russia, and today the idol stands at a still impressive height of around 3.4 meters. It is carved from a single larch tree, which scientists have determined was already about 156 years old when it was felled. The artists who created it chose their material with care, selecting a straight, mature tree to craft their monumental vision. Its journey from a living tree to a sacred object and finally to a museum artifact is a saga spanning the entirety of modern human history. Looking at the Shigir Idol today, one is immediately struck by its haunting presence. It is a towering plank-like figure, its surface covered in a complex language of symbols and faces. The main face sits at the very top, a powerful and compelling visage. It has wide, almond-shaped eyes, a straight nose, and a mouth open as if in song, speech, or astonishment. This face is not a simple caricature. It possesses a distinct personality, gazing out at us across an immense gulf of time. It is three-dimensional, carved with a confidence that speaks of a well-established artistic tradition. This is not a first attempt. It is the product of a culture that had mastered its craft and its medium. Below the main head, the body of the idol is a canvas of geometric patterns and additional faces. In total, 8 faces have been identified, each one unique. Some are carved in profile, while others gaze directly forward like the main head. They're not randomly placed, they seem to be integrated into a deliberate flowing design. Between the faces are intricate geometric motifs, chevrons, zigzags, and straight lines that run down the length of the wooden plank. These are not mere decorations. Every line and every face seems to be part of a larger story, a coded message that we have yet to decipher. The patterns may represent water, the sky, or perhaps boundaries between different worlds. The sheer age of the idol is what truly sets it apart. For many years, its date was debated. Early estimates placed it at a few thousand years old. But in the 1990s, and again more recently with advanced techniques, samples of the wood were subjected to radiocarbon dating. The results were staggering. The tests revealed that the Shigir Idol was carved approximately 12,100 years ago. This makes it more than twice as old as the Great Pyramid of Giza and Stonehenge. It is, by a vast margin, the oldest known wooden sculpture in the world. It belongs to an era when humans were just beginning to adapt to a new world, a world without the giant ice sheets of the Pleistocene. Today, the Shigir Idol is housed in a special climate-controlled glass case at the Sverdlovsk Regional Museum in Yekaterinburg. It is a fragile survivor. The wood, now dry after millennia in the bog, is delicate and must be protected from fluctuations in temperature and humidity. The statue we see is a composite of the main surviving fragments, a powerful but incomplete figure. Its broken form only adds to its mystique, reminding us of its long and perilous journey through time. It stands as a silent sentinel, a ghost from the Stone Age, its wooden skin etched with the secrets of its makers. What did the Shigir Idol mean to the people who carved it? This is the central, tantalizing mystery that continues to captivate archaeologists and historians. Without any written language from this period, we are left to interpret the silent clues carved into its surface. One of the most compelling theories is that the idol represents ancestral spirits or mythical beings. The multiple faces might depict a lineage of ancestors, each one a guardian of the tribe's history and knowledge. Or perhaps they represent different spirits of the natural world, the spirit of the forest, the river, or the sky. In many hunter-gatherer cultures, such figures serve as intermediaries between the physical and spiritual realms. Another interpretation suggests the idol could be a depiction of creation myths or important stories. The sequence of faces and geometric patterns running down its body might be a form of narrative art, a visual map of a myth. Imagine a shaman or elder standing before the idol, tracing the lines with a finger while recounting the story of how the world was made, or the adventures of a cultural hero. Each face could represent a different character or a different chapter in the epic tale. The zigzag lines might symbolize a great serpent, a common figure in creation stories, or perhaps lightning, a powerful and mysterious natural force. The idol would have been a focal point for community rituals, a sacred text written in wood. A more functional yet equally fascinating theory proposes that the idol is a kind of map. The geometric patterns could represent landscapes, rivers, mountains, forests, while the faces might mark important locations, such as sacred sites, settlements, or hunting grounds. In a world without writing or formal cartography, such a map would have been an invaluable tool for passing down crucial information about the tribe's territory. It would have been a guide to both the physical world and the spiritual landscape, showing where resources could be found and where powerful spirits resided. This idea places the idol at the very heart of the community's survival. Finally, it is possible that the idol does not represent one single idea but combines many. It could be a powerful deity with many faces, each representing a different aspect of its power. It could be an ancestral family tree, a mythological story, and a map all at once. The ambiguity may even be intentional. Such powerful symbols often hold multiple layers of meaning, accessible to different members of the community in different ways. What is certain is that this was an object of immense cultural importance. It took great skill, time, and collaborative effort to fell a massive larch tree and carve it with such precision using only stone and bone tools. Whatever its exact purpose, the Shigir Idol was central to the spiritual life of its creators. Section 5. Life in a Changing World. To truly understand the Shigir Idol, we must try to imagine the world in which it was created. This was the very beginning of the Mesolithic period, around 12,000 years ago. The great ice sheets that had covered much of the northern hemisphere for millennia were in their final retreat. The climate was warming, but it was an unstable and unpredictable time. Landscapes were transforming dramatically. Tundra was giving way to vast forests of pine and birch, and new rivers and lakes were forming where glaciers had once been. The giant mammals of the Ice Age, like the woolly mammoth and the woolly rhinoceros, were disappearing, replaced by the smaller, faster animals of the forest, such as elk, deer, and boar. The people who made the idol were highly skilled hunter-gatherers, masters of this changing environment. They lived in small, mobile groups, following the seasonal migrations of animals and the ripening of plants. Their toolkit was sophisticated, made from stone, bone, and, as the idol proves, wood. They would have crafted sharp flint points for their arrows and spears and used bone harpoons to catch fish in the newly formed rivers. Their survival depended on an intimate knowledge of the land, an understanding of animal behavior, and the ability to adapt to a world in flux. They were not the brutish cave dwellers of popular imagination, but intelligent and resourceful people. Their spiritual world was likely as rich and complex as their physical one. For hunter-gatherer societies, the natural world is not a separate, inanimate thing. It is alive, filled with spirits, power, and intention. Animals, trees, rocks, and rivers all have a spiritual dimension. The act of hunting was not just about getting food, it was a sacred exchange with the spirit of the animal. The carving of an object like the Shigir Idol would have been a deeply spiritual act, a way of communicating with the powerful forces that governed their world. The idol may have been erected in a sacred place, perhaps on the shore of a lake or in a clearing in the forest, as a focal point for rituals to ensure a successful hunt or to give thanks for survival. The creation of such a large and complex sculpture suggests a level of social organization that is quite remarkable for this period. Felling, transporting, and carving a massive larch log would have required a coordinated effort, perhaps involving several family groups coming together for the task. This was not the work of a single individual in their spare time. It implies a society with shared beliefs, artistic traditions, and the ability to plan and execute large-scale communal projects. The Shigir Idol is evidence that these early Mesolithic people had the time and social structure to invest in something beyond pure survival. They had a culture rich enough to produce monumental abstract art. Section 6. Rewriting the Stone Age. The discovery and dating of the Shigir Idol have profoundly challenged long-held views about our Stone Age ancestors. For many years, the prevailing belief was that complex, monumental art and sophisticated religious ideas only arose with the advent of agriculture. The theory was that settled farming communities, with their food surpluses and permanent villages, were the first to have the time, resources, and social structure necessary for such cultural developments. Hunter-gatherer societies, it was thought, were too preoccupied with the daily struggle for survival to create anything more than small, portable art objects. Their lives were seen as nomadic, and their art, therefore, had to be mobile. The Shigir Idol turns this entire assumption on its head. Here we have a monumental work of art created by a hunter-gatherer community thousands of years before the first farms appeared in this part of the world. It proves that a settled, agricultural lifestyle was not a prerequisite for complex symbolic thought or large-scale artistic production. These Mesolithic people of the Urals, living in a world of forests and wetlands, already possessed a rich and sophisticated spiritual culture. They were capable of conceiving and creating objects that were not just functional but deeply symbolic and artistically ambitious. The idol is a testament to the creative and intellectual capabilities of pre-agricultural peoples. This single artifact forces us to rethink the timeline of human cultural evolution. It suggests that the Neolithic revolution, the shift to farming, was not the sole catalyst for complex society or religion. The seeds of these developments were sown much earlier during the Mesolithic. The people of the Shigir culture were not simply reacting to their environment. They were actively shaping it with their beliefs and rituals. They had a complex worldview, a mythology, and the means to express it on a grand scale. The idol stands alongside other remarkable pre-agricultural sites, like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, as powerful evidence that hunter-gatherers were far more advanced than we once gave them credit for. Furthermore, the idol's abstract geometric style is incredibly significant. Much of the earliest known art, such as the famous cave paintings of France and Spain, is naturalistic, depicting animals with stunning realism. The Shigir Idol represents a different kind of artistic expression, one focused on abstract symbols and conceptual ideas. It shows that our ancestors were not just capable of representing what they saw in the world around them, they were also capable of creating a complex visual language to represent their inner world, their thoughts, myths, and beliefs. The idol is not just a picture of the world, it is a picture of a mind, a collective imagination given form in wood. Section 7. The enduring mystery of human imagination. Even with all our modern scientific tools, the Shigir Idol retains its core of mystery. We can date the wood, analyze the tool marks, and speculate on its meaning, but we can never truly know what was in the minds of its creators. We cannot hear the stories that were told in its presence or feel the power it held for the people who gathered before it. This gap in our knowledge is not a failure, it is a vital part of the idol's power. Its silence invites us to wonder, to imagine, and to connect with a past that is profoundly different from our own, yet recognizably human. It is a mirror reflecting our own curiosity about where we come from. The idol is a powerful reminder that the human imagination has always been a driving force of our species. Long before the invention of writing, people were using symbols to communicate complex ideas, to structure their world, and to explore the great questions of existence. The need to create meaning, to tell stories, and to connect with something larger than oneself is not a modern invention. It is a fundamental part of the human condition, as old as our species itself. The Shigir Idol is a physical manifestation of that ancient impulse, a 12,000-year-old piece of an ongoing conversation about who we are. Its survival is a profound gift. It allows us to see that the world of our Mesolithic ancestors was not a grey, featureless struggle for existence. It was a world filled with art, with ritual, with mythology, and with wonder. It was a world where a community could come together to transform a towering tree into a powerful spiritual messenger. The idol gives a voice to these forgotten people, allowing them to show us that their inner lives were as rich and complex as our own. It demonstrates that the capacity for abstract thought, for art, and for spirituality is one of the oldest and most enduring human traits. Ultimately, the Shigir Idol is more than just the world's oldest wooden statue. It is a monument to the resilience of human culture and the eternal power of the human imagination. It survived millennia of ice, water, and earth, and then the turmoil of modern history to deliver its silent message to us. It tells us that even in the deepest past, people were looking up at the same stars, asking the same fundamental questions, and using their creativity to make sense of their place in the universe. The idol's enduring mystery is perhaps its most important lesson, that the quest for meaning is the great unbroken thread that connects all of humanity across the ages. Section 8. A silent messenger through time. The Shigir Idol stands today as a silent messenger, a solitary ambassador from a lost world. Its journey through time, from a living larch tree in a post-Ice Age forest to a priceless artifact in a museum, is one of the most remarkable survival stories in the history of archaeology. It serves as a powerful testament to the fact that our understanding of the past is always incomplete, always evolving. Every new discovery has the potential to rewrite what we thought we knew, and to open up new windows onto the lives of our ancestors. The idol has done just that, pushing back the origins of monumental art and complex belief systems by thousands of years. It forces us to approach the deep past with a greater sense of humility and wonder. The stone tools and bones that fill our museums are only the hard, durable skeleton of ancient cultures. The Shigir Idol gives us a rare glimpse of the flesh and soul, the art, the beliefs, and the stories that animated these societies. It reminds us that our ancestors' world was not just a landscape of rock and ice, but a world of myth and meaning. It challenges us to imagine the sounds, smells, and textures of their lives, and to recognize the shared humanity that connects us to them across an immense ocean of time. The questions the idol raises are perhaps more important than any definitive answers we might find. Was it a god, ancestor, a map of the cosmos, a storybook written in code? The fact that we must ask these questions, that we are compelled to search for meaning in its enigmatic face and geometric lines, is what makes the idol so profoundly captivating. It engages our own imagination, inviting us to participate in the same process of meaning-making that its creators began over 12,000 years ago. In its silent wooden gaze, we see a reflection of our own enduring need to understand our place in the universe. In the end, the Shigir Idol's greatest legacy may be its mystery. It does not give us easy answers, but instead offers a single, breathtaking data point from a time about which we know so little. It is a symbol of all that has been lost, but also a celebration of what can, by sheer chance, survive. It stands as proof that the human spirit has always been creative, questioning, and driven to leave its mark on the world. The idol is a whisper from across the millennia, reminding us that the story of humanity is far older, stranger, and more wonderful than we can ever fully imagine. It is a true treasure, not of gold but of wood, time, and human spirit.